wondering
I
what your
don't
reaction
care.
is.
I don't give a damn about the Browns at all. I care about the Colorado Buffaloes. I do love me some Shedeur Sanders, don't believe that. I care about him. The rest of that mess, I don't, okay? I'm a coach trying to win just like they're trying to win games, but I could care less of who they traded.
From the standpoint of sending the message, I got priorities over here. I'm not concerned about that. I love that guy because he's my son, but that's his business. That's their football team. I got my own issues.
Joe Flacco's trade to the Bengals has sent shockwaves through the league, sparking heated discussions and opening the door to potential controversy. But here's the thing. This isn't just another trade. It could stir up much more than just headlines. The ripple effect reaches far beyond Flacco, and it has the potential to reignite old flames, particularly for Shedeur Sanders. When Deion Sanders was asked about it, he knew the question wasn't as simple as it seemed. Answering it could easily lead to more drama, especially with his son in the spotlight. So, what did he do? He took control of the situation and silenced the reporter, making sure he had no part in stirring the pot with the Browns. In this video, we're diving deep into what this trade really means, the potential fallout, and why Deion Sanders' reaction was so critical.
His mouth and said anything that was considered invasive or intrusive in the eyes of the Cleveland Browns, that would have been yet the latest increment to hold against Shedeur and be an impediment to him. So Deion Sanders being dismissive of what's going on in Cleveland and saying he don't have any concerns about that, that's none of his business, was the right thing to do.
Deion Sanders' response received widespread praise from experts, who believed he made the right call. They pointed out that with the game still out of their control, anything he said could be used against Shedeur Sanders down the line. Stephen A. Smith echoed this perspective, emphasizing that given the Browns' track record against Shedeur, any comment from Deion could have been twisted and used to his son's disadvantage. By choosing to distance himself from making any remarks, Deion made a wise decision, avoiding unnecessary complications. Stephen A. Smith emphasized the importance of every word in safeguarding Shedeur's progress. He pointed out that even a single misinterpreted or misrepresented statement from Deion could have a lasting impact on Shedeur's career. Smith also highlighted that it's becoming increasingly apparent that Shedeur is close to securing a starting position, especially considering that Dillon Gabriel is not yet the undisputed starter. Given this, the Browns are still figuring things out, and the Sanders family must avoid any controversy that could hinder Shedeur's potential.
Could have been misconstrued, perceived in the wrong way, and ultimately held against Shedeur as an impediment to the progress that you're anticipating he will be able to make. You look at Dillon Gabriel, you know he can play, he's not a scrub. But you're not looking at him and saying there's no way on earth that we're going to see Shedeur Sanders because this guy's going to ball out. He's clearly the starting quarterback in the future of the Browns. They're trying to figure it out.
Swagoo, on the other hand, criticized the Browns for their handling of Shedeur Sanders, claiming they treated him more like the media did rather than a true team would. He pointed out that despite Flacco's move backfiring, Shedeur was still kept in the QB3 spot, a decision that raised eyebrows. Swagoo argued that Shedeur should have been promoted to the second-string quarterback, even with Flacco on the roster. He insinuated that the narrative being spread about Shedeur was no accident. It was being pushed by the Browns intentionally.
Here is my issue with how Cleveland has played this. And the one issue that I have is Cleveland played this like the media. They didn't play this like a real football team. Shedeur Sanders, like you alluded to, S.A., should have been the second-string quarterback once Joe Flacco was removed from the...
Both of these concerns are gaining traction, especially with recent reports uncovering explosive details about the true story behind Shedeur Sanders' return. What initially appeared to be a triumphant comeback is now being overshadowed by a developing narrative that could completely alter our understanding of the situation. Insiders are now suggesting that the Browns' management may have been behind a subtle smear campaign against Shedeur following the draft controversy. And as Stephen A. Smith pointed out, any statement from Deion could be used against them, adding fuel to the fire of this ongoing drama.
But it is wild to me how they're going to try to spin this in such a way to make it seem like they fixed Shedeur Sanders when I'm never going to look at it that way.
So, Nick Wilson pointed out that following the draft, The Browns were the ones pushing a media narrative that portrayed Dillon as far superior to Shedeur Sanders, a claim that never quite added up. Now, after all of that, they're suddenly praising Shedeur as a great player, which makes the whole situation feel suspicious. It raises doubts about their true intentions, whether this shift in tone is sincere or part of a larger, more strategic move. Despite this, both Shedeur and his father must remain cautious, avoiding any comments that could potentially spark another smear campaign from the Browns against Shedeur Sanders.
Narrative. They created the post-draft narrative on Shedeur, which was insulting, trying to act like there was a massive difference between Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders when both guys were incredibly experienced college quarterbacks.
Analysts believe that the dramatic shift from harsh criticism to sudden praise for Shedeur Sanders is part of a well-calculated strategy aimed at silencing detractors and steering the narrative in the Browns' favor. The timing of Flacco's trade news now seems to fit into this plan. It appears that Jimmy Haslam is the one orchestrating this shift, especially given his earlier comment that both rookies would be given a fair opportunity to play. This move seems like a carefully executed tactic, enabling Browns management to maintain control over the story surrounding Shedeur and swiftly address any lingering doubts.
Hey, we're going to play your guy at some point this year. Just be patient.
Well, and I'm sure a lot of people think like myself. It's like, yeah, Jimmy Haslam already told us he was going to play this year. You know, like if you just listen to Jimmy Haslam, we'd have both quarterbacks be playing.
Stephen A. Smith, on the other hand, highlighted that this move will definitely open up opportunities for Shedeur Sanders. As Dillon Gabriel's backup, Sanders is now in an ideal position. While the situation may not be flawless, any mistake or fumble from Gabriel could quickly lead to Shedeur getting a chance to step in. This brings him one step closer to his NFL debut. Although it's not the perfect scenario, it's a positive development for Shedeur, who may soon have the opportunity to make his mark on the field.
Shedeur Sanders moving up as your QB2. It's getting very interesting.
Tom Pelissero, speaking with Rich Eisen, suggested that there's nothing unexpected about this decision, as Haslam has consistently been outspoken about his quarterback strategy in Cleveland.
You know, having Shedeur and saying that he's going to play eventually, that's always been the plan. Jimmy Haslam flat out said it in training camp, which is they want to see both these guys figure out what they have, and then as we get toward next year and the fact they've got 2 first-round picks, you at least know, do we think we have something that we can work with here? Joe Flacco, barring an injury, Dillon Gabriel was not going to get back on the field.
The entire situation surrounding Shedeur Sanders, the Browns, and the trade of Joe Flacco reveals a complex web of strategy, timing, and control. From the start, it's clear that the Browns management has been playing a carefully orchestrated game. The narrative shift from criticism to praise for Shedeur Sanders, especially after the draft controversy, seems too calculated to be coincidental. Analysts, including Stephen A. Smith and Nick Wilson, have pointed out that the Browns' intentions go beyond simple roster management. They are actively controlling the story to ensure that any negative commentary about Shedeur is quickly neutralized. This move by Jimmy Haslam, in particular, highlights a larger plan to manage the quarterback situation in Cleveland while maintaining control over the public narrative. Deion Sanders' cautious response to questions and his attempt to keep his son's name out of potential controversy is an indication of just how delicate the situation is. A single comment could turn the tide against Shedeur, and Deion's decision to stay silent is a strategic move to protect his son's future in the league. In the same vein, Shedeur's position as Dillon Gabriel's backup places him in a prime spot to step in if Gabriel falters. While this isn't the ideal scenario for Shedeur, it does bring him closer to his ultimate goal, an NFL debut. It's a stepping stone, and it's one that could soon lead to bigger things. Ultimately, while the path ahead for Shedeur Sanders is filled with uncertainty, the Browns' maneuvering and the media's role in shaping the narrative have ensured that he remains a focal point. Whether he seizes the opportunity or not, his journey is only just beginning. So, what do you think about all this? Do you believe the Browns are playing a calculated game with Shedeur Sanders, or is this just a case of a team managing their quarterback situation? How do you feel about Deion Sanders' decision to keep quiet? And do you think it's the right move to protect his son's career? Are the sudden shifts in the narrative surrounding Shedeur a sign of something bigger at play, or just a matter of timing? And finally, with Shedeur now in the backup role, do you think he'll get his chance to shine soon? Or will Dillon Gabriel hold on to the starting spot? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.